Hello and welcome. This video features the cruise portion of our 2-week Princess Alaska tour. It's a continuation of the land tour video. A link to that video is in the description below. We left Whittier and sailed along the Alaska coast through the Inner Passage to Vancouver. We'll show you the ports we visited and some of the excursions we took, and we'll demonstrate why, if you want to see some of Alaska's most magnificent scenery, a cruise is the only way to go. The train dropped us right at the dock in Whittier. We boarded the ship and were soon underway. The views were breathtaking. The sunsets spectacular. By the next morning, we were near the Hubbard Glacier. It's hard to judge the size of this glacier from a distance until you realize that that's a cruise ship in front of you. The captain rotates the ship so that everyone gets a good view. The next morning, we entered Glacier Bay National Park. To see this park, you have to be on the water. Think you could maybe hike in? It's 50 miles to the closest road. Here's a little bit of calving. And again, hard to judge the scale of these things until you spot that sailboat. The ship sailed overnight to Skagway. This excursion started as a bus trip, up the mountain into British Columbia to Fraser. Since we're now in Canada, you need to bring your passport for this trip. The passports are checked on the bus. The bus continued on into the Yukon Territory, with a few stops for pictures. We had a barbecue lunch at Caribou Crossing and then checked out the sights. Because we had time, the driver took us a little further north to Emerald Lake. The bus brought us back to Fraser, where we boarded the White Pass and Yukon Railway for a spectacular ride back to Skagway. These flags represent the borders we crossed: United States, Alaska, British Columbia, Yukon Territory, and Canada. And this is the border between the United States and Canada. The downhill views from the side of the train are steep and impressive. The train made a stop to pick up these hikers. That's the port and our ship off in the distance. Once off the train, we went to explore Skagway. And we ended up here. Our next port was Juneau, Alaska's capital. You can't drive to Juneau, you can only drive around in Juneau. You need a car ferry to get a vehicle there. Our excursion this day was to see the Mendenhall Glacier and to hike the East Glacier Loop Trail. The sights and the hike of this excursion are covered in more detail in a separate video. A link to that video is in the description below. But here's a sample. The last port we visited before Vancouver was Ketchikan. From there, we took a Mystic Fjords boat trip. You get a close-up look at the famous Eddystone Rock. Other than the rock, there's not much to see, except maybe for a few geological formations and some seals along the shore. From Ketchikan, the ship sailed through the inner passage to Vancouver. We departed the ship and a bus took us to the airport for our return home. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, why not subscribe?